All right. And everybody, welcome to today's Coaches to Coaches. Today, we're going to have Mark Lawrence from Austin College is going to talk about some rhythm, balance, and movement. But before we get to Coach Mark, we have Coach Felix Mercado from Brown University is going to kind of discuss the Save Our Sports and the movement going on there to kind of keep all of Division I, Division II, and Division III teams like kind of keep their programs here. So I'm going to cede the floor to Felix. It's all you.
Yeah, this isn't going to take that long. So just a quick background on what's going on. So a couple of weeks ago, some of the smaller Division I conferences, mostly the basketball-heavy conferences, put together. We're trying to push through some legislation to change to get a temporary waiver on the number of sports they had to sponsor to remain Division I. Because right now that's a 16. If you drop under 16, you're no longer considered for Division I. So that was obviously, if that passed, that would have put a lot of Olympic sports in a tough spot because they're like whether it's water polo, swimming, volleyball, wrestling, a lot of sports was a little bit freak out a little bit on that. So that's where the Save the Sports campaign started, and we started a petition to try to get over 100,000 signatures or as many as we can to show that the presidents and the NCAA that proposal wasn't something that people favored. So long story short, on last Friday, there was the ADs. It went to the AD board, and the AD board actually shot it down. They recommend, but they don't have the final say. So they made a recommendation to not sponsor this legislation. And then on Tuesday, the presidents of the university then had an opportunity to vote on it. What I shared with you is just an article for MCAA.org about the meeting. And basically, while they didn't make they made decision not to do anything right now, but it's obviously something that is still on the table. So I don't think we're out of the woodworks yet, but we're obviously in a better spot than we were a week ago, as far as like this consideration of a dropping school. In reality, there are still schools that might drop water polo. I mean, there are still schools that might drop sports in general because as we get, the longer this remains, especially if the fall is getting back, and and you guys in Texas, the big football schools, as that stuff starts getting threatened, there is, and athletic departments are making less money. They have to make cuts in certain places, and non-revenue sports are the first to go. So that's where we're at right now. While we survived that first wave of votes, but they didn't completely take it off the table. It's obviously something that they'll still looking at. And like I said, the link probably explains it better than I can. I'm just a water polo coach, but hopefully that. So I would still encourage everyone to continue to sign that petition, push it through, because you never know. And it's not just us. Reach out to your wrestling coaches or your swimming coaches, because this affects all Olympic non-revenue sports, not just water polo. We're just taking a lead in front of you guys because we're visible in front of you guys. But I know wrestling's on it. I think volleyball should be doing it. Swimming should definitely be doing it. There you go.
Well, Felix, just thank you so much for coming on and kind of letting us know about this. I know I sent some information out to everybody last week. Does anybody have any questions for Coach Felix? Well, good. So, and then to sign the petition is at the Save Our Sports website, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Perfect. All right.
And thank you, Joe, and all the other coaches that I saw you guys reposting it and sending it out. That's really, really awesome. And it shows out what a great community we're a part of.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And now we're going to transition over to Coach Mark Lawrence of Austin College. Mark has been the head coach at MIT, the assistant coach at Brown, the assistant coach at Navy, and he's been the head coach at Austin College for the last couple of years. And today he's going to be talking about rhythm, balance, and movement. So I'm going to hand it over to Mark now. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, first and foremost, thank you for letting me do this. Like Felix said, we're all jonesing for water polo, so this is a great outlet, and it's great for me to get to know you guys a little bit better. So what I want to talk about today is the transition from being horizontal in the water to a vertical base to attack in the front court. And the reason this is such a strong part of my coaching philosophy and what we work on is because as an athlete, this is something I was not very good at when I was younger. When I first started playing water polo, I was an ex-swimmer, so literally was sticking bones very fast, threw the ball very hard, but everything in between those dots was non-existent. So those things got me to college, luckily, but then I started playing against really good goalies and realized that throwing the ball hard wasn't the most important thing. So I started having sit down with coaches who I played for, both college and then overseas both. And these are some of the drills that I've created to work on some of the areas where I was very weak as a player. That is a huge part of what we do with our women's program, especially, but our men's program also. So I'm going to take you through there. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and go through a Google presentation that I have. I have my screen set up to where if you guys want to stop and ask a question, feel free. I'm a talker, so if you want to interrupt me at any point, feel free. So, and then let me see. Okay, cool. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go through this with you guys. Feel free to chime in at any point, ask questions, and then I'm going to kind of go through like a progression of what one workout might look like while we're working on these skill sets, okay? You can make fun of my slideshow. My wife is super professional, made me do it, so. All right, so for these skills and these drills I'm going to talk about, these are the two pieces of equipment that we use. They're not very expensive. One is a typical resistance band on the left-hand side that a swim team uses, water polo teams use. The one on the right side is a very short resistance band called a grunge belt, and you can see it has a belt on both sides. And that'll become important a little bit later in this presentation on how we use both belts simultaneously.
Hey, Mark, before I forget, you could probably answer this later. Where would you get these belts? Is there a specific
For sure.
place?
So for me personally, I get these off swimoutlet.com. That's where I go to get these belts personally. This belt on the right-hand side, the grunge belt, is my absolute favorite training tool in our sport. And unfortunately, they're becoming really hard to find. But you could buy the actual band by itself, and then you could buy belts by themselves. You have to get a little creative on how you make them. So, and so yeah. But that's a really good question. I get them on Swim Outlet. I believe Cap 7 has the one on the left. And hopefully between those two things, you'll be able to find where these are at. So the things that I'm going to talk about today is two different ways that we work on changing direction via warm-up to kind of set these drills up and why we do them and what they work on. And then I'm going to go through 4 drills really quickly on what we do. So this page is kind of just to help me stay organized. If anybody would like me to share this presentation with them when this is over, just shoot me a text message, email, whatever you like, and I'll be more than happy. So I'm a big fan of sharing and talking polo with everyone. So the very first, sorry.
Don't worry, there's technical issues every time we do this. So, and most of them are on my end. So there you
go. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this works. Okay, so that's not work. I can show it from here. So this is the very first drill. We call this changing direction, stepping forward. And this is a warm-up drill that we do. So it really gets our ladies used to moving over their hips that day, getting their joints warmed up, and just a basic warm-up drill. Before I start showing the videos, just want to preference that I told our ladies that intensity level can be at a 0 and effort level is at 0. They're just kind of showing the movements. So yeah. Don't be too harsh on the judging. So, But so this is something that we call stepping over the hips and attacking forward. So they take 5 strokes, they swing their hip on top of the water. That way they maintain rhythm, balance, and then they step forward with a front hand reach and a backhand lunge. So all this is trying to do is get them warmed up and work a little bit on getting their feet out in front, going from horizontal, some sort of change in direction with their hip, and then moving into that next motion right away, trying to maintain rhythm and balance as they do so. The one thing in these drills we don't want our athletes to do, we don't want them to be kind of herky-jerky and stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. We want all these drills to be very fluent. So this is one warm-up that we do that's a great example to how we set these drills. And we do about 15 different change of direction warm-up drills. Between those 15, we rotate 1 or 2 or 3 almost every single day. So these are really important. Okay, so going to the next one is to change in direction, but instead of going to full 180 with their legs and stepping forward, they're going to mimic receiving a pass strong side or receiving a pass cross face. So they're going to take 4 to 6 strokes. They're going to rotate their strong legs on top of the water to a 90-degree angle turn, and then they're going to mimic the motion of stepping towards a pass, and they're going to hold it. So once again, this is pure warm up for them to do. Sorry, I'm going to have to do this kind of like annoying technology each time, it looks like.
No, just take your time. It's all good. So you said that you do this stuff about like 1 or 2 drills a day. Is that just during your like you just incorporate it during warm up or
basic warm up? Yeah. So every day in a warm up, we do about 200 yards, 300 yards of some sort of change in direction, body movement. It's something that when I played overseas, that my coach was big on. That just stuck with me as a habit. So we incorporate what we want to work on drill wise for the day into that day's warm up, if that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you.
For sure. So this is the second drill where they're going to rotate their hips to a 90-degree angle on their strong side, keeping their legs high, and again, trying to maintain rhythm and balance into that stepping motion. And this is another warm up drill that they do. So they step up and catch. We would like it to be a little bit less start and stop, but again, I told them they could have an intensity level of a 0. And what's great about this drill is that it can be done at a full sprint. It could be done at about 10% effort. Depends on what age group you're working with, and it depends on if you're focused on rhythm and balance or you're focused on body positioning. So it's a really great warm-up drill for that. And then you can visualize with your players if they're going to catch strong side, catch cross face. And with all these drills I'm going to show you guys, my favorite thing about them is that they can be done with 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, college players. You could adjust the level of effort on the bands. You could use weight belts. You could use weighted balls. So you get really creative with these different drills, which is awesome. So, okay. Oh, hopefully this one will work. Okay, so this one we're going to use that grunge band that has the 2 belts on it. We're going to use this off a wall. So hopefully you can see in this video box before I start it, we have one player hooked up to the wall and the grunge band's hooked up to the wall also. She's not attacking at the 2 goals that are in the cage. She's simply attacking straight forward. That's her target. And then she has a partner who's about 2.5 meters to her right and forward at a 45-degree angle. The angle is really important because it forces this girl to get her legs 9-degree angles, strong side, step to the ball and catch it, and then naturally be in a spot to where she could catch and shoot, catch and attack, or catch and fake. And this drill, she's going to do 3 different skill sets, but we will do this drill and we'll do 10 reps of catch, catch and pass, and then 10 reps of catch, fake, pass, 10 reps of catch, attack at some sort of angle, elevate, and pass. So you get really creative on all these different drills. There's probably 10 or 15 variations that we use depending on what we want to work on. So let me go ahead and start this one for you. Awesome.
Yeah, and while Mark does this, just so that you guys, so when Mark was my assistant coach, this is one of the, he brought a lot of great things to our program, but this is one of the things that we still do. And we have, I loaded up on a lot of these stretch cords, and when we do legs, it's without a doubt everything that Mark is talking, what they do at Austin College is stuff that we do at Brown with the belts. And there's actually a way, Mark also, and obviously I don't know if you did this up, but there's actually a ring, and we could tie like 4 different bands to this ring and have 4 people battling, going in opposite directions in 4 different directions, doing the exact same drills with partners. It's absolutely one of the most, like, you want to talk about something that you can get your cardio in, your skill set in, but also involve a lot of athletes, and you don't need a lot of space. And that's probably one of the best parts about it, that you can literally just have a smaller area to have these athletes battle, and the grunge belts are absolutely a must-have if you can find them in a way to get them in your program. Just wanted to, that's my
no, absolutely. I'm glad you spoke up, because can I have permission to use the Kate Woods reference later? Okay, good. Yes. Okay, good. So just like Felix said, today I'm focused on one element, but we use these bands for everything: counterattack, center work, center D work, perimeter attacking. And what Felix was saying is great, and I'll kind of build off it for the drill after this one, on when you do this with a partner and how you can make different variations of that. So here's the video of the drill we just spoke about. And once again, she's only going to do strong side, but you could do the strong side, cross face. You could use a heavy black ball. You could put a weight belt on, or you could keep it simple like this and have 12-year-olds do it, which is amazing. All these drills I've used with high school athletes, 14Us, 12Us. And if you want legs and like, you know, not your obvious common legs, but if you want legs covering water with your legs, quick catch and shots to be a huge part of what you do, these drills are phenomenal for that. So the first one, she's going to catch and pass, then she'll catch, fake and pass, and then she'll catch, make one motion, and then pass. So once again, I told them intensity level to be 0, just go nice and easy. So this is great. So that's the drill that we just spoke about. And you know, if you guys, on a side note, if you haven't noticed, there are 2 demo ladies are both Texas ladies who grew up playing youth. So you guys might recognize them. So this next one is a little bit different. It's the same concept where you're going to swim when you have a partner who's going to pass, but now we're going to use 4 people. In my video, there's only 3. You'll see the partner is on a ball using her legs, but typically you'll have 4 people, 2 people swimming at the same time, 2 passers at the same time. And this is my all-time favorite drill, just in the sport of water polo, period. Felix and Austin and Jeff already know this because they've been around me. I'm like obsessed with this drill. So this is a drill that when we did it super intense at my last school, Navy, we had a kid who's a current Navy SEAL who grew up playing for SoCal tell me that this was the hardest drill that he's ever done in his entire life, and the actual most beneficial drill. Who we mentioned to a few minutes ago, Miss Kate Woods, was a phenomenal player at Brown, and I let her name this drill on a side note, which ended up being FU Coach Mark, because we were very close. And I shared that story with my Austin College athletes, so whenever we do something super hard, that's what they say. And sometimes it catches people off guard who don't know it's a joke, but yeah, so I'll go ahead and get this loaded, and then from here, I'll go ahead and play it for you. So I'm gonna pause it really quick. So you'll see, here's our girl who's gonna be swimming with the passer. So now in this drill, we're using that same grunge belt, where she's wearing one side, and then Shannon on the opposite side is wearing the belt as well. Typically, Shannon would have a passer right about here to her strong side, and they would be going at the same exact time. So what makes this really hard is that Maddie might stop to she might stop, set her hips, go to catch and shoot, but Shannon might be swimming still at the same time. because there's a pattern to their strokes. So say example being that Shannon's swimming and she stopped to catch, Shannon's gonna be pulling her hips back. So she has to quickly get her legs going to create balance, to create rhythm, to get high in this drill and fight the band that Shannon's pulling the opposite way. And then naturally she'll start swimming and Shannon will try and stop, catch and shoot. And it becomes a really great you versus me kind of drill. But this is my favorite drill of all time within our sport. And it's very hard. This video won't show how hard it is, but if you have high school kids, this is a phenomenal drill. We'll typically go 5 rounds of 1 minute on, 15 seconds rest, and each round will change the drill. So one might be catch and pass, one might be catch, fake, pass, or catch, double fake, however you want to do it. And it's really important to explain to these people over here, the passers, that one pass could completely ruin the drill. So it's a great drill for them too, where they'll sit there, waiting to pass with the ball off the water, driving their legs. So it's a great workout for all 4 girls. So I'll go ahead and play for you guys. Maddie will do three different kind of drill sets, or at least try to. So typically Shannon would be swimming the opposite way. So Maddie would be sprinting, set her hips, try to step, catch. Okay, nice. You can ignore that last pass back. So so hopefully you got the idea of what that drill would look like. We only these girls jumped in the pool yesterday with me to kind of record these, and we only had 3 kids on campus with everything going on, so we couldn't get a 4th person in. But hopefully that kind of made sense. So those are the two main passing drills that we do with the bands, with those 2 grunge bands. And again, they're great. They could be used with regular balls, heavy balls, weight belts, no weight belts, intensity level at a 10, intensity level at a 1 if you want to do it with like 14 U's. You could get really creative with them, and which is great. And any sort of skill set that you think involves catching, you could apply to these drills. But just keep the focus at going from horizontal to vertical and then attacking right away. So that's what the focus is. And if you have a hard time visualizing what I mean by that, just imagine you have a counterattack and you have the ball 4-5 side and you have an open player at the 1-2 side and you want to have a cross pass with a quick catch and shoot while they're swimming. Say if they're swimming when the pass is made, they could go from a sprint into hip position into catch and shoot one motion. Or if the ball's 4 or 5 side in front court and you have a drive from the 2, anything that involves movement opposite from the ball, this is what we work on. And again, I created these drills because me being able to beat high-level goalies on a regular basis when I got to college and then played after college became really challenging. So from those drills, we do 2 different shooting. So this is a big
yeah. Mark, before you get into the shooting, I just have a quick question for you. Yeah. So do you just have all your kids kind of doing this at once, or do you set it up in stations? Kind of how do you implement this stuff into practice?
It really depends on what your pool looks like. So when I was at Tech, they have a huge Olympic-sized pool. We would have all of our guys do this at one time. When we were at Brown and then at Austin College, we would do different station work. At Austin College, because of the space limitation that we have. At Brown, because we would incorporate this with like a leg workout or like a swimming workout, whatever it was. I think that these drills at the college level are so difficult once you do it correctly, that station work is best, because then you can have some rest built into that and you're not going to absolutely like destroy their shoulders if they're just going all through. But if you're a high school coach and you're a 14U coach and you have access to big water and you want to do this at like intensity level of like 3 or 4 just to get the fundamental basics down, then I think at that point you could do it as one big group. You could stop it after each rep if you want to and give some key points to focus on. So it really depends on where you think the experience level of your athletes are and all that good stuff. So hopefully that's a good answer.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Joe, to tack onto that, so I have big water. So what we do is we have 3 of these bands, and so we'll actually go 3 groups of 4. And so that'll give us pretty much that's my entire roster. So we'll spread out and we'll all do this together basically a minute on. And about 45 seconds off to give everybody the chance to rotate and get some of that little rest. But we'll go all together, and my kids call it the noose. It's very difficult for them, but they love it. They dig it, and it's definitely something that we've integrated as a huge part of our program as well.
Yeah, thanks, Austin. And that's Austin Ringheim from MIT. So.
All right, so this next drill, Shannon gets a little bit too close on these shots, but you guys can ignore that. So we set up the longer band that has the one belt on. You can set up on the wall, a lane line, however your pool kind of dictates for you, and you do as many shots as you want to do. We'll typically go like 10 shots, and then we'll rotate next girl. We'll have multiple people go at one time, so our goalie sees a shot, has to readjust, sees a shot. But what we're going to work on in this drill, these are all wet shots. So every single shot that she'll attack while on the band, and she's going to do a weak hand transfer. And while she does a weak hand transfer, she should be stepping out to her strong side simultaneously every single time. So this is going to work on the skill set of going horizontal, rotating your hips 90 degrees to your strong side, and elevating into a quick shot right away. And what we just showed in these passing drills translates to this almost perfectly. And this is a drill you get really creative with. You can have them swim to one spot every single time and work on shots from that angle. You can have them swim to the 1, to the 5, to the 4, wherever you want them to swim, and create different realistic situations that they would see in a game. And then on a side note, you can also turn her around and do whole set center reps the same exact way, which is really great. But I think that's another conversation for a different day, but you could definitely do that. So I'm going to go ahead and show this. And again, these are drills that Felix and Austin have done with me. So you guys feel free to, if you feel like I'm leaving anything out, jump on in. So, okay. So I'll go ahead and play this for you. And this is a drill. We really don't care if the ball goes in the cage or not. 100% of the focus for this is what is she doing with her hips? How fast is she doing it with her hips? And is she maintaining rhythm and balance? The ultimate goal is to have zero hesitation, zero stop and start, all one fluent motion. And if she was in shape and we were still in season, she would do this with a weight belt on her chest and back. She'll be doing this 10 reps, and she'll be forced to hold the ball to get that leg workout as well. So you get really creative on little adjustments that you want to make. So, and then this is our final drill, and this again. These last two drills are probably nothing new, but it's just a different focus as you do it. So this time, Maddie's going to shoot off a pass, but same exact idea. She's on a band. She can swim to different spots, work on different angles, shoot weak side, strong side, cross face, whatever you want to create with it. And Maddie's our starting center. So in a real situation, Maddie would be at the 2 right now, with her back to the cage, but getting the same exact thing. So once again, we're focused on going from horizontal to vertical with speed and balance, and being able to beat high-level goalies with your fundamentals with your legs versus how hard you could throw the ball. And then this is the last one, so I really apologize for these annoying things. All right, we'll see.
Yeah, no, this is great, Mark. Yeah, just thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah, for sure. The girls were beyond thrilled that I opened up the pool for them. So we have some campus regulations that they haven't done anything since season was canceled. So they were very happy. So these last two are really simple. I'm sure these are already things that are worked on in your guys' program. Hopefully, I was able to show you just a different thing to focus on while you guys work on these things. The first two drills with the grunge bands, I think that's really the beneficial new elements that hopefully I was able to share today. For me personally, like I said when I first started, these were all created out of my own playing career. I'm a very confident coach, but I think my friends will tell you, my former players or current players will tell you, I have no problem to looking at areas of my playing career where I was not very strong and figuring out how to develop those areas really well. So for me, I went to college, and back then at the East Coast, Joe was a coach back there, so he knew what it looked like. We had 3 of the best goalies in the entire country were in the CWPA when I played in college. Probably the best goalie in the country I played against every single day in practice. And then I went overseas, and we had 3 national team level goalies within our program. So I've always found myself in a position where if I don't throw the ball hard enough to beat this goalie by being a better athlete, how do I have to adjust my body position and my quickness and my rhythm and my balance to be able to beat them with fundamentals? And that's how all these drills got created. So I think at the high school level, what our kids are learning now at Austin College is that, especially on the men's side, because we compare ourselves to a Penn State Baron, we have a stronger field for sure, no doubt. But their goalie's phenomenal. He should not be there. He should be at like USC as their number 2 backup goalie. That kid is unreal. So they're learning how important it is to not take fundamentals for granted, not take balance and explosion and quickness for granted. And that's where all these drills really came in for me as a player. Like, how can I develop these areas and make these areas better? So hopefully, I think the last 2 drills you guys probably already do, but hopefully you guys can do those with a different focus. And sometimes with a different focus that feels brand new to the kids and they get super excited about it. And hopefully those 2 grunge band drills is something that will be new for you guys that you guys can try. So I will tell you the grunge band stuff. I feel like I take the bands off the wall and every kid wants to quit. But then when they're done with the drill, they understand how important it is, and they really like it for the beneficial reason of it. So you make them as hard as you want, intensity level with the swimming, with the bands. Add weight balls, add weight belts, wear the belts on your chest and back versus your waist. That way your body, your knees and ankles don't absorb all that weight. And you guys get really creative with these. And what Felix was mentioning, if I go back, sorry to put you through this with my technology. I'm gonna go back to these belts, and I'll show you what Felix was mentioning that we did at Brown that he and I both still do. So you'll see on these belts, there's a metal triangle right here on both sides. And then this belt as well, there's a metal triangle right here. So what you could do, you could get little hooks, like a little carabiner hook that's really sturdy. And if you put a carabiner hook on one triangle per band, you could buy a really thick, kind of small, like metal ring, like a scuba kind of ring, something that's really durable. You could go to like Home Depot and buy one that if I stop sharing, I can kind of show you with my hands. That's like this big, and you could hook all those hooks up to that ring. So what we did when I played center, we would have that ring with 4 different bands going off it. So you could do center work like that, where you can alternate pushing back, shouldering in, big breast kicks. You could do the drills we just showed off of that if you want to make them really hard, or you could do just basic tempo attacking of alternating, dribbling, ball in hand, dribbling, ball in hand. You get really creative with how you use these bands. And they're really fun. For coaches, they're really fun. They're really productive for athletes. And I'm a completely an open book. I think Austin and Felix will tell you I love to share and I love to learn from other people. So if you want more information about these things that we do, specifically what I just showed you, please call, text, email. I'll be way more detailed than I was on my little presentation. So yeah, for me, that's it, Joe. I try to keep it short for you guys. I didn't bore you to death, but feel free to ask whatever questions you guys have. And yeah, so thank you.
Are there any questions for Coach? Well, I have a question. I'm a big believer in kind of coming up with your own skills, drills. You know, okay, all right. So on the weekend we didn't do very well on this. So how am I going to be able to kind of implement that and work on that in practice? And you kind of alluded to that, just earlier as far as the shooting and with the strong goalies. can you take us through that process kind of that you have from
Yeah,
from kind of seeing the issue and then kind of coming up with the drill?
for sure. And it's kind of a good, I mean, my answer kind of goes to a couple different areas. So, which is great. I think this is something that Coach Lynn talks about with like coaches at like ODP camps or holiday camps that's really beneficial as well. But I recognize the area of need that we need to work on, whether it's from one weekend or just a skill set that we're very weak on as a collective group consistently. And I essentially put that situation on the actual whiteboard, whether it's a front court play, whether it's having to create more versus what we already do. Whatever the problem is, I draw out on the actual whiteboard, and then I dedicate the entire practice to that. But I create my practice by going backwards. So I'll write out what that situation is, and then I'll go through, okay, in this situation, what shot is required to be successful and to fix what the problem is. So that becomes our shooting drill. And then what body movements or what passes are crucial to success in this situation. So is it crossface? Is it strong side? Do we catch off a pass? Do we have to catch, fake, lock goalie, beat them cross cage? So I break everything down backwards, and then I apply those to my drills, to my skill sets. And then finally, we look at body movements. So in this situation we want to work on, we have to do X, Y, and Z with our bodies. So I use this example all the time. It's my favorite play within Warplo. Felix and Austin already know this, so I'm not breaking any news to them. But I love the 20 pick and post up. So when I teach that, I go through all of it. Okay, what motions do we need? Okay, we're going to fake a drive, ball side to the 3. Then we're going to change direction to the 2 post. So we're going to work on stop and go with a big breast kick. Okay, now we're going to receive a strong side pass. We're going to want to catch, fake, lock the goalie, then work on a set to the post. So now in passing, we're going to work on rhythm passing, and then rhythm passing with a fake and a set. Now in shooting, we're going to work on catching and shooting and catching and setting. So I put the situation in of what I want to work on, and I always apply a certain skill set to an actual situation on the whiteboard, and then I just work backwards. And then when I work backwards, I find that I have an actual workout from warm up, body movements, passing, shooting, situational focus, and then scrimmaging hopefully afterwards. So that's a long answer.
No, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, that was exactly what I was looking for. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, this is Mihai. First of all, nice to see you. I like the beard.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. I like yours.
Man against the virus look. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
This is great. I just have a question about the courts that you're talking about, and I love them probably as much as you do.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of positive about it, but are there any negative about using this? And if they are, can you tell the coaches what do you think is negative and what they should be aware about using those courts?
Yeah, I can only speak to negatives that I've seen in my personal experience, and I don't want to speak for other coaches who may use them. But in my experience, I think the negative is athletes trying to go too fast, almost mentally, and coaches trying to go too fast. So coaches trying to say, and I don't mean speed with effort and swimming. I mean going too fast on are you doing this at like intensity level 7 before they understand what the fundamental skill set is. So our kids do all these drills on the bands, but they learn how to do these drills off the bands first. So I think that's what the big negative is. If you just draw on the whiteboard, hey, we're going to do this, go put a band on, go as hard as possible, but they don't understand the skill set of what it is, how you use it, and where it applies to a game in a positive way, then I think they might just be burning their arms super hard and not understanding what the mental aspect of it is, or not having the fundamental base to make it productive. So the big negative that I found when I was at MIT, I was like, hey, look at me, I'm a college coach finally, I'm gonna go change the world. I went through these drills way too fast, and our kids didn't understand them. So we had to step backwards and actually teach the fundamentals to make these drills productive. So I think that was the big negative that I've seen. So my advice would be, make sure that there's an understanding of what the concepts are, why they're important, and how you place them into the game. And then I think that becomes a lot easier for the kids. And just start slow, intensity level at a 2 or 3. Next time you do it, intensity level at a 5. Once you feel comfortable, tell them to start sprinting. And what's great about the bands is that you could have 8 guys, you know, if you look at like a St. Mark's, you could have 8 guys from varsity do this at an intensity level of 7, but then you could have 12 maybe JV guys do this at an intensity level of 2, all at the same time if you have the space, and kind of like individual. So we do this, we pair them up with somebody of their skill set, their speed, their strength. So that way then they're helping they're all kind of helping each other versus holding each other back physically or mentally. So that's the one thing that I've experienced.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions, guys? All right. I have one last question for you, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. In the background, I saw some snipers on your goals.
Yeah.
Okay? So I know I haven't been the biggest fan of them, myself, but are you a fan, and why?
Yeah. So I think there's 2 things from my childhood that kind of got like weaseled out a little bit of training. Training habits I think are just phenomenal that I use almost daily. One is the sniper and one is the black heavy ball, like the 3.3 heavy balls. Our women's team uses the bench size 3.3 heavy balls every single day. So we use them all the time. And you know, for us, we find ourselves having a lot of athletes who have to have their skills developed, you know, and versus getting the junior national team kid who's ready to like plug and play right away. So for the snipers, it just forces them to be very accurate. You know, it forces them to have to put the ball on situationally across the cage or wherever it is to understand time and place, to understand how to be accurate, and how their arm angle and their usage of their wrist will dictate how accurate they are and things of that nature. And then the heavy black balls we use every single day. We don't shoot them. We don't pass for more than 2 meters, 3 meters in distance, but we do simple wrist passing every single day because I absolutely love my wrist action on shots and passing. And then the great thing about snipers is that you can give the goalies a hour-long workout. And the field players can be shooting on snipers and be very effective, you know. So, and then one thing that I've done with snipers with like 14Us, lots of 14Us, 12Us don't have goalies, where they have one goalie. Put a field player in front of a sniper with a 14U and say, beat the goalie, beat the sniper, and that's how you score a goal. We actually did that year 1 with our men's team. So when we were not shooting on polo, when we were shooting on the other side.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I like that. Well, Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much.
This is being recorded. It'll be posted at txwaterpolo.com. I'm going to try to get the PowerPoint from Mark and also put that there as well. And next week we have Daniel Cox, who's going to do center defense, and then we also have Coach Alex Stankovic from Pegasus is going to do goalie basics in a couple weeks. We have Coach Sabrina Carlisle is going to be doing some front court offense. We have Coach kind of Jeff Chandler doing the 6-on-5, and I think we're going to work out and try to get Coach kind of Mihai kind of doing some passing and shooting at some point in May. So again, I thank you, Mark. I thank everyone that's contributed, and I appreciate like you all being here.
Thank you guys very, very much. I'll stick around for a second or two as long as Joe's on here if you guys have questions, and if you guys ever want to reach out. Like I've talked to Mihai about this a little bit in the past with Joe. Like I absolutely love to learn. I love coming to your guys' practices as well. So if you guys don't know me yet, shoot me an email. Let's meet when this is all done. So thank you guys very, very much.
I do appreciate it, Mark. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I just get on as you guys ended.
Thanks, Mark.
You missed.
You're back, dude.
If my Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi just went poop.